Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here, and in today's prepping video, I've developed a list that I'll occasionally be looking at my computer for uh, on the 5 things by the end of this year. Every prepper, whether you're new, you've been prepping, should have developed at least the simple aspect of this list and then the intermediate to advanced level of this list. Uh, the reason why I say that is I believe every person in the United States can 100% accomplish the simple section of this. And watching some of my older videos, some of the newer videos that I have coming out where I dwell deeper into accomplishing these goals and reiterating stuff that I've done in the past. Uh, every prepper should be able to hit the simple level on this list. And it's up to you on how quickly you develop the intermediate to advanced level of this list. It's not an all encompassing list, and it's not, you know, you meet these requirements and you're done prepping. Really, if you haven't you haven't figured it out yet, prepping is something that you'll probably do if you get engaged enough into it till the day you pass away. And it's one of those things I've talked about it in the past. As a prepper, this is my staying alive insurance. It's physical hard assets. It's skills that I have developed, stockpiled, prepared for that will benefit me in future situations. So, the first one on this list, probably the most important, and it's establishing food and water security. Every prepper at this point should know that parts of the US, other parts of the world, food prices are going up, food production is slowing down due to drought, weather conditions, flooding, not enough people working, the supply and demand, you know, balance is completely off. Some states in the US have opened, some are partial, and certain parts of the country are still locked down. And that completely disrupted food going from the fields to your table. And when I say table, you buying it from the grocery store or you going out to eat. Stuff got wasted. Prices went down for a while and now they're going back up as places reopen, as more and more people are realizing that I should have more set aside for that rainy day situation. So, the simple part of my list is 2 weeks worth of water and 3 months worth of food in a working pantry. I say working pantry because it ties into another part of it, but that is your minimum. And on the water side and on the food side, you need to be able to accommodate preparing the food, hygiene, and your animals. So, good rule of thumb, person uses, everyone says the 1 gallon per day. I like to say two, because that should be able to encompass saving a little bit. So you shower every 2 to 3 days. You have enough to prepare your food. You have enough to wash your hands, clean dishes, and then that's just for the humans. If you have cats, dogs, horses, livestock, any animals that are alive require the water. So I think in my pet food video I talked about how much water you should have. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But I can't give out an exact number because some people have 3 dogs, some people have 20 cats, some people have 30 head of cattle. Every situation is different. The big boy steps is being able to replenish the food that you have. So you've seen my food stockpile videos, and getting past the 3 month prepper pantry, I'm not really helping myself. Like, okay, start over. Getting past the 3 months of food just means you have that much longer to be able to establish replenishing of those food stocks. So after the 3 months, you can push it to 6, you can push it to a year, you could push it up to, if you had the funds and you were putting away shelf stable foods, and you could pay to put away 50 years worth of food that could run out, it could be compromised. You're going to need a way to replenish your food. So, on the food side, a garden is your best bet. If you live in an apartment, you can at least grow some stuff on a balcony or a windowsill. You can't completely solve your food problem, but you can develop the skills necessary to where if something happened and you could grow in front of your apartment because there weren't any rules, then you've established your ability to grow food. So garden's a big deal. And I talked about the apartment, if you have any room whatsoever. I mean, if it's a 10-foot square area or a quarter-acre area, growing a garden will hone and prepare skills. And it does tie into one of my other things on here, developing relationships. If you own land or you live in a state where you can do public land hunting, get that deer this season. Get a hog. Shoot some rabbits, squirrels, stuff like that, where, again, you're developing another skill of skinning, cleaning, quartering, and packaging that meat. One 50-pound hog, which is on the smaller side, let's say it's a 100-pound hog, you're getting 30 to 50 pounds worth of meat off of that versus spending a few $100s in the grocery store. You figure out where they're at, how to attract them to your area, and I'd say you're good to go. I also have on there, you can develop trap and snare systems for your property to catch, if you're not big on the sitting and waiting or stalking something, you can use snares and traps. Just check them regularly so whatever you catch in there is not suffering. So that does tie into the next one of camp or function without power / be in a grid down situation for 72 hours. So for that one, if you're bugging in, which I would suggest bugging in unless you're in a densely populated area and you keep most of your stuff in a cabin in the woods. Spend a long weekend being a prepper. If you live in Texas and you just went through that freeze at the beginning of the year, you had a crash course. If you live on the coast and you've dealt with a hurricane before, crash course. California and wildfires, crash course. Do this in a mostly stress-free environment and find your holes, find your gaps, and get them filled up. I also put on there camping because of the people that could be bugging out. If you are bugging out, that ties into the next thing on the list. So the next thing on this list, the simple thing is it's 100% a physical activity. You should be able to ride a bike for 5 to 10 miles. Going really fast, you can accomplish those miles in 4 to 6 minutes. Going at a more leisurely pace, 6 to 10, and I'd say really slow is 10 plus. But you got a bike, or if you don't have one, and your bug out location is, I'd say, more than a 3 days walk, or if you plan on or have the ability to drive, depending on your situation, uh, a bike will better suit you than walking. So 5 to 10 miles, be able to run, and I would say running pace on the slow side would be 9 to 12 minute miles. Pretty fast, especially if you're doing on the 3 side, would be 8 to 9, and cross country and track people could probably do it in under 8. I can't do it in under 8 anymore. So develop that. And then the last one I have on here is ruck slash hike, whatever you want to call it, 4 to 7 miles. And that is on the light side. Now, a good rule of thumb is if you can do all three of those in the medium category, awesome. If you develop the hiking one more than the running, or the running more than the biking, just, pick one, get really good at it. If you want to do all three, you can. And the advanced side of that is bugging out to your location. Obviously, plan A will probably be a vehicle, but if roads are clogged, vehicle breaks down, it's not safe to take the vehicle, then head to your bug out location, barring it's within a 3 days journey. For hiking, you should comfortably be able to do 7 to 12 miles a day. Biking, 10 to 20. And you probably wouldn't be running in that situation unless you've got all of your gear there and it's really, really close. I would say under 2 miles. So getting to your bug out location, practice, route A, B, and a good prepper would probably have a third and fourth, and you would know every single route to get there. Your shortest, your most concealed, the straight, following the Ravens path A to B, cutting through backyards. Develop that how you see fit. So, what you can see so far is the first one when I talked about food and water ties into the camp slash function, which ties into the exercise portion of running, biking, and hiking. One of the things that I didn't mention on the grid down 72-hour or camping is if you're doing the grid down bug inside, that's when you should utilize your 3-month working prepping pantry. And then the last two will benefit you for all of those different categories. So the first one, or technically the fourth one on this list, but the first of the two that just all around help better you as a prepper. I've got simple range day more often. Uh, the ammo shortage right now is kind of making that difficult. If you can do dry fire exercises, or one box exercises, or reload drills where you only put 1 or 2 rounds in the magazine, sighting in new firearms, developing long range skills, pistol skills, what the range shooting aspect is probably the most entertaining, the most fun for preppers. And right now it's just very difficult, and it could have a 10-part series on pistol, shotgun, rifle, long range, close quarters, ambush. I could go on and on and on. What I have on here, there are three big things you can do that I would say are cheaper alternatives that help with the exercise, help with feeling a live fire situation, and the first two are paintball slash airsoft. In my opinion, I believe airsoft is better for the situation because the firearms that you use within airsoft are a lot more realistic. Um, Paintball can be very similar, but having the giant hopper on top and the paintballs being a lot bigger than airsoft BBs makes it difficult to get the same realism of, an airsoft M4 AR platform looks the exact same. The paintball one, a little off, basically the big hopper. But going out for, a Saturday airsoft or paintball event where you're actively running around, you're actively, using cover concealment, um, just honing that skill. And it's cheaper than trying to shoot your 9mm and 223 right now. If you have a large enough prepping group where you want to go super in depth, you can take the airsoft to the next level where it's whether a weekend where you just go play for the day, or you can do a MILSIM event or a military simulation where you fill up a whole squad, you run like a squad, and normally, the official MILSIM is company on company level engagement. So you're getting a lot bigger feel. Now, if you want to go more realistic, you can go the route of a FTX or a field training exercise, whether that's 2 people or 20 people. You develop that within your prepping group how you see fit. So, simple side, more range days, reload drills, dry fire exercises, sighting in and getting your firearms accurate, more advanced. On the cheaper side is paintball, airsoft. More expensive is a field training exercise where, you develop skills that way. And then the last one on this list, because this video is approaching 20 minutes long, is develop relationships. I just moved. The only people I really know in this town are my grandparents and a couple of their friends that I've seen when I came up here in the past. My grandmother has already started talking to me about a lady that she picks up eggs from. And she buys them at the exact same price you'd get from the grocery store, but they're brown, fresh chicken eggs. So I will establish a relationship with her to get eggs, and for the meantime, it will be just US dollars exchanged. Um, I would like to develop it as more of a barter. I trade something for those eggs. And then in your area, eggs are one of the simple ones. Extra tomatoes, cucumbers, corn, different plants. Figure out the people that grow those things and develop that relationship because, like I said before, in establishing food security, if they have an abundance of something that they're able to sell or trade the leftovers, then that means they're pretty good at growing that and they've established that skill. So you could also even help them, harvest and learn that skill from them and trade your labor for the product. And for me, by the end of the year, this is, big time goals is add one person that you could most likely count on. There's only 6 months left, so developing that relationship, it could be there. It could take a year or more. It all depends on how fast people, get into it, your level of vetting people, and, that's why I put the most likely count on. You've developed it past the point of you trade eggs for tomatoes or whatever, and you've kind of given them the idea that maybe they should start prepping as well, and you've maybe started to develop, a mutual assistance group or something along those lines. But it doesn't have to be, you let someone into your inner circle by the end of the year. That is probably the one on this list that is the most, it could swing either way. And we're over 20 minutes now, so I'll cut the video off here. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. If you found this information helpful in any way, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. If the information I talked about in this video would help or educate a friend or family member, then share the video with them. And I'll catch you in the next one.